Good day, my name is Cyprian Stroh, and today I will guide you into the world of oilseeds. The importance of oilseed crops. Oilseed crops are far more than a simple source of nutrition. They are strategic resources for both agriculture and modern industry. Their importance lies in their versatility and in their high oil and protein content, which give them great economic potential. The oils extracted from their seeds are indispensable in multiple industries. In the food sector, oils from sunflower, rapeseed, soybean, maize, or cotton are the basis of refined oil, margarine, mayonnaise, canned products, bakery, and pastry goods. Rich in unsaturated fatty acids, they contribute to lowering bad cholesterol and protecting cardiovascular health, but their value extends well beyond food. In the non-food sector, linseed oil is used in paints and varnishes because it dries quickly. Castor oil, rich in ricinoleic acid, is used as a lubricant in the textile industry and as a base for plasticizers and synthetic materials. Rapeseed oil has become the main raw material for biodiesel, with its use increasing rapidly in recent decades. The cosmetics industry employs vegetable oils for creams, lotions, shampoos, and soaps, while in pharmacy, oils serve as excipients or even active ingredients in medical preparations. Nothing is wasted. The residues after oil extraction, known as oilseed meals or cakes, are highly valued in animal husbandry, where they are used as protein-rich feed. In some cases, like sunflower or sesame, these byproducts also go directly into human food. Think halva, energy bars, or pastry products. So when we talk about oil seed crops, we are talking about strategic links in the global agro-industrial system, supporting food security, industry, and even renewable energy. They are truly a pillar of the modern circular economy. Biological characteristics of oilseed crops. To understand how oilseed crops can be farmed efficiently, we need to look at their biology. These plants belong to different botanical families, yet they share important traits that influence yield and management. The root system is crucial. Sunflower and castor bean, for example, develop deep taproots reaching 2 to 3 meters into the soil. This allows them to access water and nutrients from deep layers, a clear advantage in drought-prone areas. Soybean and peanut, being legumes, enter into symbiosis with rhizobium bacteria, fixing nitrogen and reducing fertilizer needs. Rapeseed has a shallower but dense fibrous root system, ideal for exploiting the upper soil layers. The stem varies from rigid and herbaceous in sunflower and rapeseed to semi-woody in castor. It provides support, conducts nutrients, and in modern hybrids is bred for resistance to lodging and shattering, critical for mechanized harvesting. Leaves, meanwhile, are the factories of the crop. Their size, shape, and orientation determine photosynthetic capacity. Soybeans with their trifoliate leaves or sunflower with its large ovate leaves produce high levels of assimilates for seed filling. The flowers are equally diverse. Soybeans are mostly self-pollinating. Rapeseed combines self and cross-pollination, while sunflower depends heavily on insect pollinators like bees. Farmers who place beehives near sunflower fields can boost yields by up to 20%. Finally, the seeds are the economic organs. Sunflower contains 38 to 52% oil, rapeseed 40 to 46%, soybean 18 to 22% oil, but as much as 35 to 42% protein, linseed about 35 to 40% oil, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, castor bean up to 55% oil with unique industrial properties. These seeds not only provide lipids, but also high-quality proteins for both food and feed. For the farmer, understanding these biological traits means smarter crop management. choosing the right variety, adjusting sowing density, applying targeted fertilizers, and protecting leaves and flowers at the right time. In short, biology guides practice, and practice transforms biology into profitable harvests. Yield formation in oilseed crops. Yield in oilseed crops is not random. It is the result of biological processes carefully supported by agricultural decisions. During the vegetative phase, roots, stems, and leaves capture water, nutrients, and sunlight. Then, in the reproductive phase, flowering, pollination, and fertilization determine the number of seeds. Finally, during the seed filling stage, the plant directs all its energy into oil and protein accumulation. This stage decides whether we get a mediocre harvest or an exceptional one. The farmer's role is to keep the system running smoothly, maintaining green, healthy leaves, securing water and nutrients, and protecting against stress. Key elements of productivity are threefold: the number of plants per unit area, the number of fruits, capitula, pods, or siliques per plant, and the number and weight of seeds per fruit. These factors compensate for one another. Fewer plants can produce more fruits. Too many plants reduce one another's potential. Balanced planting density, timely fertilization, especially with potassium and boron, and proper irrigation during flowering and seed filling all make the difference. In the end, yield is the balance between genetics and technology. The genetic blueprint offers potential, but the farmer's decisions unlock that potential. Every green leaf, every fertilized flower, every healthy pod adds up day by day to the final harvest. That is why oilseed crops are not just a matter of weather luck. They are the outcome of informed, scientific, and attentive agricultural practice. Sunflower introduction, systematics, chemical composition, varieties. Sunflower Helianthus annus is one of the world's leading oilseed crops and the most important in Romania. Originally from North America, it has adapted to a wide range of soils and climates, and today it is cultivated on over 26 million hectares worldwide. In Romania, sunflower occupies a strategic position both economically and agriculturally, thanks to favorable climatic conditions and a long tradition of hybrid breeding. Modern hybrids, conventional, mid oleic, and especially high oleic types have transformed the crop, providing higher yields, better resistance to diseases and pests, and oils with distinct nutritional and industrial qualities. Chemically, sunflower seeds contain 40 to 53% oil, sometimes up to 65% in the kernel alone, and 15 to 22% protein. The oil is dominated by unsaturated fatty acids, linoleic acid, essential for human health, and oleic acid, which provides oxidative stability and makes the oil attractive for both food and biofuel. In addition, sunflower seeds contain vitamins such as A, D, and E, phosphatides like lecithin, and essential minerals. All these traits make sunflower a cornerstone of modern agriculture. Cultivation technology: sunflower is a demanding crop in terms of crop rotation and soil management. It cannot be grown in monoculture and it should return to the same field only after 6 years, with a share of less than 18% in the rotation. This prevents the spread of major diseases such as downy mildew, sclerotinia, or broom rape. The best preceding crops are cereals and legumes, particularly wheat, peas, and maize. Sunflower requires a well prepared seedbed, usually with deep plowing in autumn and surface cultivation in spring. Fertilization is critical as the crop extracts large amounts of nutrients, up to 35 kilograms of nitrogen, 7 kilograms of phosphorus, and 16 kilograms of potassium per ton of seed produced. Balanced nutrition is essential. Excess nitrogen reduces oil content, while boron deficiency causes poor pollination and deformed capitula. Modern hybrids respond well to targeted fertilization and crop protection. Weed control is vital, especially in the first 40 days when sunflower grows slowly. Clearfield and express sun hybrids allow selective herbicide use, ensuring cleaner fields. Pest and disease management requires both resistant hybrids and careful monitoring. Irrigation, although less common in practice, can double yields if applied during flowering and seed filling. Finally, harvest timing is crucial. It usually takes place in late August or September when seeds reach 9 to 10% moisture. Delayed harvest increases losses due to shattering, birds, or disease. Climate requirements. Sunflower is remarkably adaptable, but its growth and productivity are strongly influenced by temperature. It is considered a mesothermal crop, requiring a total of 2,400 to 2,800 degrees Celsius during its growing season. Germination begins at 7 degrees, and young plants can briefly withstand frost down to -6 or -8 degrees. However, during flowering, the crop becomes very sensitive. Temperatures above 30 degrees combined with dry winds can reduce pollen viability, resulting in empty seeds and yield losses. The optimal temperature for seed filling is between 20 and 22 degrees, which ensures both high yield and good oil quality. Sunflower's ability to tolerate heat and drought comes from its deep taproot system, which can reach 2 meters, and its capacity to withstand temporary tissue dehydration. Nevertheless, water stress during flowering or seed formation remains the most limiting factor for yield. Water, light, and soil requirements. Moisture is a decisive factor for sunflower productivity. Although known as a drought-resistant crop, sunflower consumes between 400 and 450 millimeters of water during its growing season. Only about 20% of this is used before flowering, while the critical consumption occurs from budding to maturity. In fact, the maximum daily water requirement can reach 5 millimeters in July or August. When water reserves are insufficient, yields and oil content decline sharply. Sunflower is also a light demanding plant. Its leaves follow the sun in a process called heliotropism, maximizing light interception and photosynthesis. Shading at early stages reduces leaf area and weakens plant growth. As for soils, sunflower prefers deep, well-structured loamy soils with good water retention and a pH between 6.4 and 7.2. Chernozems and alluvial soils are the most suitable, while compact clays or very sandy soils are unfavorable. The crop tolerates moderate salinity, which further demonstrates its ecological adaptability. Yield formation and productivity factors. Sunflower yield is determined by several interconnected factors. First, the number of plants per hectare, which is set at sowing but naturally adjusted by field conditions. Second, the number of seeds per capitulum, which depends on leaf area before flowering and the vascularization of the head. Third, the thousand seed weight, influenced by photosynthesis after flowering, water availability, and nutrient supply. And finally, the oil content, the defining factor for the economic value of the crop. These elements interact in complex ways. Higher plant density can reduce capitulum size, while a larger number of seeds may lower average seed weight. The environment plays a decisive role. Water and nutrient availability during flowering and seed filling, largely determine whether yield potential is reached. Farmers can optimize yield by choosing hybrids adapted to local conditions, adjusting density, applying balanced fertilization, and protecting the crop during sensitive growth stages. The harvest is essentially built step by step from emergence to maturity, with every leaf, every flower, and every seed contributing to the final result. Industrial utilization and trends. Beyond the field, sunflower is one of the most versatile industrial crops. Its seeds are the primary raw material for edible oil, valued for its flavor, high smoke point, and health benefits. Refined sunflower oil is used in cooking, frying, margarine, canned goods, and bakery products. The pressed cake, rich in protein and vitamins, becomes animal feed of high biological value. Seed husks are processed into furfural, a chemical used for resins, adhesives, and synthetic fibers. Capitula are sources of pectin for the food industry, while stems can be transformed into particle board, paper pulp, or biomass for energy. Even the plant's melliferous capacity supports apiculture, producing sunflower honey. Recent trends emphasize high oleic hybrids, producing oil comparable to olive oil in nutritional value and with superior oxidative stability. This oil is increasingly demanded not only for food but also for biofuel. Romania plays a key role in Europe as a major exporter of sunflower seed and oil, but debates continue around sustainability. Rotation intervals, soil fertility, and water use remain central topics. At the same time, biotechnology and breeding aim to create hybrids more resistant to drought, pests, and climate extremes. In the broader bioeconomy, sunflower is no longer seen only as a food crop, but as a strategic industrial resource supporting food, energy, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, and green chemistry. In short, sunflower is truly a multifunctional plant positioned at the crossroads of agriculture, industry, and sustainability. Rapeseed basic concepts, systematics, cultivation areas, chemical composition. Rapeseed or Brassica napus is one of the most important oilseed crops in modern agriculture. It belongs to the Cruciferae family within the Brassica genus, which includes more than 30 known species. Out of these, two species are particularly relevant for oil production: Brassica napus subspecies, Oleifera, often called colza rapeseed, and Brassica campestris subspecies Oleifera or turnip rapeseed. Both species have been developed into autumn sown and spring sown varieties adapted to different environments and farming systems. The vegetation cycle of autumn types lasts around 270 to 300 days, while spring types complete their development in just 110 to 130 days. The expansion of rapeseed in Europe and Romania has been remarkable in recent decades. This has been driven not only by its role as a source of vegetable oil for human nutrition, but also by its increasing importance as a renewable energy resource. In Romania, average oil content of cultivated varieties lies between 44 and 46%, but in advanced double zero hybrids, varieties free of erucic acid and glucosinolates, the oil level may exceed 48%. These compounds were once problematic, limiting the nutritional and feed value of rapeseed. Through plant breeding, they have been reduced to negligible levels, making modern rapeseed oil safe, healthy, and versatile. Besides oil, rapeseed seeds also contain up to 24% proteins of high biological value, further adding to their importance for food and feed industries. The fatty acid profile of rapeseed oil has changed significantly over time. While in the past, oleic acid levels were modest, today modern hybrids can accumulate more than 60% oleic acid, accompanied by linoleic and linolenic acids, all essential for human health. This balance of nutrients, combined with adaptability and yield potential, makes rapeseed a strategic crop both at national and international level. Varieties and hybrids. Modern agriculture depends heavily on hybrid technology, and rapeseed is no exception. The introduction of high performance hybrids has transformed this crop into a reliable source of income for farmers. In Romania, several hybrids have become well known. For example, Umberto KWS is widely cultivated thanks to its ability to adapt to diverse environments, from fertile plains to drought prone areas. It is also appreciated for its tolerance to frost, making it suitable for continental climates. Helico, another successful hybrid, is remarkable because of its resistance to pod shattering, a problem that can otherwise lead to heavy losses during harvest. PT303 Sclerotinia protector developed by Corteva represents a breakthrough in disease management as it helps farmers control sclerotinia, one of the most damaging rapeseed diseases. Other hybrids, such as InVigor 2040, combine high yield potential with disease resistance and pod stability. On the international stage, companies like DeKalb, Syngenta, Limagrain, and Ragt have introduced hybrids such as DKX Storm SY Harness, Architect, and Alizi. These hybrids are appreciated for their resilience, stability, and capacity to maintain high yields under different climatic conditions. Each hybrid is selected based on key criteria: tolerance to frost, resistance to diseases like phoma or sclerotinia, adaptability to soil types, and stability of production year after year. Romania also plays an active role in hybrid development. Research centers like Fundulea have created local varieties tailored to Romanian soils and climates. These include both zero type hybrids, free of erucic acid, and zero types, free of both erucic acid and glucosinolates. They ensure safer, higher quality oil and protein meals for human and animal consumption. Choosing the right hybrid is always a decision that must consider soil fertility, water availability, and rotation practices. By making informed choices, farmers can maximize both yield and quality, ensuring profitability and sustainability. Climate and soil requirements. Rapeseed is a demanding plant when it comes to climate and soil, but with the right conditions, it can deliver very high yields. The crop thrives in temperate regions, where the annual precipitation ranges between 450 and 650 millimeters. Moisture is particularly critical at two stages: during emergence and rosette formation in autumn, and during flowering and seed filling in spring and early summer. The transpiration coefficient of rapeseed is high, which means the plant consumes large amounts of water to produce biomass. This is why even short droughts can have a negative impact on yields. However, one of rapeseed's strengths is its ability to make efficient use of water stored in the soil over winter due to its deep root system and early spring growth. Temperature is another decisive factor. Autumn rapeseed is resistant to frost, surviving temperatures as low as -20 or even -25 degrees Celsius, provided that the plants have undergone a proper hardening period. During this phase, which requires about 40 days, the plant accumulates sugars and proteins that protect its tissues against freezing. However, rapeseed is very sensitive to sudden temperature fluctuations, especially in spring. Late frosts during flowering or pod formation can cause devastating losses. As for soils, rapeseed requires deep, fertile, and well drained fields. The best results are obtained on Chernozems, alluvial soils, and brown forest soils, rich in humus and calcium with a neutral pH. It does not tolerate compacted or poorly aerated soils, and sandy soils can limit its potential unless irrigation and fertilization are applied. The plant also benefits from good light exposure as it is highly heliophilous. All these requirements explain why rapeseed is often cultivated in areas with favorable agroclimatic conditions, but also why modern technology is needed to expand its cultivation into more challenging regions. Cultivation technology. The success of a rapeseed crop depends on the precision and timing of each technological step. Crop rotation is essential. Rapeseed should not be grown after sunflower or soybean due to the risk of sclerotinia infection, and it should return to the same field only after at least 3 years. Good precursors include cereals, peas, and potatoes, which leave the soil in good condition and vacate the land early. Fertilization is one of the most critical practices. Rapeseed is a heavy nutrient consumer. For each ton of seeds, the plant requires about 50 to 60 kilograms of nitrogen, 30 to 60 kilograms of phosphorus, 40 to 50 kilograms of potassium, as well as calcium, sulfur, and micronutrients such as boron. Nitrogen is particularly important, but both deficiency and excess can reduce yield. Phosphorus and potassium contribute to root development, winter resistance, and seed filling. Organic fertilizers such as manure also play an important role improving soil structure and nutrient balance. Sowing must be carefully planned. The seeds are very small, so the seed bed has to be finely prepared and well leveled. The optimal sowing time ensures that the plants enter winter with a well developed rosette of 6 to 8 leaves, a strong taproot, and a thickened collar. If sown too late, the plants may not withstand frost. If sown too early, they risk growing excessively before winter and becoming sensitive to cold. Seed density usually ranges between 100 and 150 plants per square meter, depending on variety and growing conditions. During vegetation, farmers must manage weeds, pests, and diseases. Mechanical weeding is less common today as herbicides are more efficient, but biological and integrated pest management strategies are gaining attention. Pests such as flea beetles, pollen beetles, and stem weevils are monitored with yellow traps, and treatments are applied only when economic thresholds are exceeded. Irrigation may be necessary in drought prone areas, particularly in Dobrogia and southern Romania, both in autumn for emergence and in spring during pod formation. Harvesting is another crucial phase. Rapeseed is prone to pod shattering, which can cause losses of up to 40%. To minimize this risk, farmers may use hybrids with shatter resistance, apply desiccation treatments, or harvest in two phases, cutting and windrowing, followed by combining. Direct harvesting is faster but riskier and requires careful combine adjustments. All these measures underline the technological complexity of rapeseed farming, which requires precision at every step. Industrial uses and trends. Rapeseed's true importance becomes clear when we look at its multiple industrial applications. First and foremost, rapeseed oil is a high quality edible oil, low in saturated fats and rich in omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids, making it favorable for cardiovascular health. It is widely used for cooking in salads, margarine, and processed foods. But rapeseed's potential goes far beyond the kitchen. In the energy sector, rapeseed oil is the main raw material for biodiesel, a renewable, biodegradable, and eco friendly fuel that reduces greenhouse gas emissions. This makes rapeseed a cornerstone of Europe's renewable energy strategy. In the chemical industry, rapeseed oil is used in varnishes, paints, printing inks, biodegradable lubricants, detergents, and even in the synthesis of biodegradable plastics and polymers. The pharmaceutical and cosmetic industries also rely on rapeseed derivatives using lecithin, vitamin E, and essential fatty acids in ointments, creams, capsules, and personal care products. Byproducts are equally valuable. Rapeseed cake, with up to 38% protein, is widely used in animal feed. Straw can be used in particle board production or as biomass for energy. Rapeseed flowers are also an excellent nectar source, producing up to 50 kilograms of honey per hectare, thus supporting beekeeping. In terms of trends, there is a clear movement toward high oleic hybrids, producing oil with a composition closer to olive oil, stable, healthier, and with better industrial properties. At the same time, precision farming, drones, sensors, and satellite monitoring are increasingly used in rapeseed cultivation, enabling farmers to optimize resources and reduce environmental impact. However, debates remain open. The expansion of rapeseed for biofuel raises questions about land use, food security, and biodiversity. Concerns about pesticide impact on pollinators, especially bees, are leading to stricter regulations and the search for ecological alternatives. In conclusion, rapeseed is not just an oilseed crop, it is a key resource for the future of sustainable agriculture, bioeconomy, and green energy. Its versatility, combined with technological and genetic progress, ensures that rapeseed will continue to play a vital role in both food systems and industrial innovation. Castor oil basics, systematics, origin, composition, and varieties. Castor oil plant Ricinus communis is a bit of a botanical outlier. It's the only species in the genus Ricinus sitting in the large Euphorbiaceae family alongside everything from tiny herbs to tropical trees. Its natural home is tropical Africa, think Nile Basin, and Ethiopia, and from there it traveled with trade across Asia and later the Americas. What makes it valuable is inside the seed. Romanian bread lines historically reached 54 to 56% oil with around 15% protein. Chemically, castor oil is dominated by ricinoleic acid, about 80% of total fatty acids, which gives the oil its unusual thickness, lubricity, and heat stability. We also see smaller amounts of oleic, linoleic, stearic, and a bit of deoxystearic acid. Technologically, it's a non-drying oil. Iodine value approximately 81 to 86, but if you dehydrate it, you can convert it into a high-quality drying oil for coatings. There is a flip side. The oil cake after extraction can contain ricinin and ricin, compounds not present in the refined oil but concentrated in the meal and green tissues. With proper detoxification, the meal can be used as protein feed. Without it, it's unsafe. Morphologically, the plant is striking: big palmate leaves, a hollow, easily bruised young stem, and a compound raceme with male flowers below and female above. Fruits are three-celled capsules, smooth or spiny, housing large mottled seeds. Thousand seed weight can range 70 to 1000 grams, which tells you how diverse the types are. That diversity underpins breeding goals: oil yield, drought tolerance, architecture for mechanization, and earliness. Globally, India leads with modern hybrids like GCH4 and GCH6. Brazil targets semi arid systems and bioenergy. China uses castor on marginal land. Romania once grew varieties such as Dragon, Christian, Rivlas, Teleorman, Vlaska, adapted to our continental summers and to mechanical harvest, but today there's no variety in the national catalog. The crop faded as processing chains disappeared, not because the plant lost relevance, Climate and soil requirements. Castor is thermophilic, it thrives on heat and light. Think of it as a summer specialist. For reliable maturation, it needs a seasonal heat sum on the order of 2500 to 3000 degree days, base approximately 10 degrees Celsius. In practice, that limits competitive production to long hot summers in Romania, mainly the southern counties. Timing matters from day one. Germination starts near 10 degrees Celsius, crawls at cool temps, and becomes rapid as soils pass 15 to 20 plus degrees Celsius. Late spring frost or an early autumn snap can wipe plants, so sowing follows soil warming, and the calendar aims to bring the main race to maturity, often requiring greater than 1300 degrees Celsius from sowing. Water needs are moderate to high, often compared with maize. To express yield potential, the crop wants at least approximately 300 millimeters across the season, with July August being critical because flowering and capsule set are in full swing. Too dry and flowers abort, too wet and disease pressure rises. Light is another lever. Castor loves full sun. Shade or overly dense canopies push stems to elongate, reduce raceme quality, and lower oil. For soils, think deep, well aerated, free draining profiles, loamy sandy to sandy loam, where the taproot can drive down. Optimal pH sits around 6.0 to 7.5. Heavy, compacted, cold, or waterlogged soils cause root asphyxia and invite pathogens. In short, warm, bright sites with structured drain soils and a reliable midsummer water supply are where castor pays. Cultivation technology, rotation first. Castor follows autumn cereals, annual legumes, or well fertilized row crops. We avoid monoculture and drought exhaustive predecessors like alfalfa or sorghum. It's actually a friendly preceder for many spring crops. On nutrition, castor's removal per 100 kilograms seed plus stems is roughly 7.1 kilograms, and 1.7 kilograms P2O5, 5.9 kilograms K2O. A practical fertilizer program sits near N50 to 60 kilograms per hectare and P2O5, 40 to 50 kilograms per hectare, with phosphorus worked in at basic tillage and nitrogen split or applied ahead of spring seed bed work. Avoid heavy in-season N. It delays maturity and stimulates branching when we actually want the main and primary race meals to finish strong. Manure gives modest responses here compared with other row crops. Often better to apply it to the preceding crop and let castor benefit indirectly. Tillage aims for depth and structure. Plow to 25 to 30 centimeters to prevent hard pan, then disc and finish with a fine, firm seed bed at 8 to 10 centimeters. Seeds must be large, high purity, greater than or equal to 85% germ, and fungicide treated. Sowing window typically the first, second, 10 day of April, once soils are truly warm. Row spacing 70 centimeters suits mechanical weeding and harvest. Intra-row spacing is set to curb excessive branching. Remember, too much space and the plant keeps producing secondary racemes that won't mature on time. Seeding rate is usually 30 to 40 kilograms per hectare, depth 6 to 11 centimeters depending on moisture. Weed control is decisive because emergence can take 2 to 3 weeks in cool springs. Use a pre-sowing or pre-emergence grass herbicide plus 2 to 3 inter-row cultivations and 2 to 3 hand hoeings early. Protect a 12 to 15 centimeter strip around the row on first pass to avoid snapping the fragile hypocotyle. Diseases, watch fusarium and botrytis, gray mold. Rotation is your first shield. Fungicides on warning for botrytis at ripening. Irrigation, Two well timed events can add approximately 10 quintals per hectare, one at main race me appearance, approximately 600 cubic meters per hectare sprinkler, or approximately 1000 cubic meters per hectare furrow, and one at early seed fill. Harvest, target full maturity when capsules are brown, and seed moisture 13 to 15%. Options include one pass mechanical harvest after desiccation or two phase, cut ripe capsules, dry, then thresh with a decapsulating thresher. Because seeds are oil rich, safe storage moisture is low, approximately 6%, so clean and dry promptly. Throughout, enforce strict safety and hygiene around meal and green residues due to ricin and ricinine. The refined oil itself does not contain ricin. Industrial uses and current trends. Castor is a classic case where chemistry meets agriculture. Thanks to that 80% ricinoleic acid, the oil has a set of properties that's hard to replicate: high viscosity, film strength, and thermal chemical stability. That's why industry uses castor oil to make polyamides like nylon 11, biodegradable lubricants, hydraulic fluids, plasticizers, advanced inks and coatings, and components in synthetic rubber. Dehydrated castor oil behaves as a drying oil for paints and varnishes, forming flexible adherent films. The cosmetics and pharma worlds prize it for texture and compatibility. Think lipsticks, hair serums, ointments, capsule excipients. Beyond the oil, detoxified meal becomes a protein feed, stems feed into particle boards and eco-composites, and leaves support specialty sericulture Philosamia ricini. Even beekeeping can benefit from its nectar flow. Trends point one way: bio based materials. Demand is growing for plant derived polymers, safer plasticizers, and green lubricants. Areas where castor already wins on performance. Countries like India, Brazil, and China have built full value chains from hybrids to extraction to downstream chemistry, positioning castor as a strategic bioeconomy crop. At the same time, there are debates we must acknowledge. First, worker safety and processing hygiene around ricin in meal and residues, solved with strict protocols and detox technologies, but never optional. Second, the temperate zone question: could countries like Romania revive castor? Agroclimatically, yes, in the south. Economically, only if hybrid seed contracting and processing capacity return. Third, the classic food versus industrial land use discussion, especially relevant as sunflower and rapeseed already anchor our oilseed area. Net net, castor's industrial relevance is growing, not shrinking. Where the heat, light, water, and value chain line up, it can be a profitable niche that feeds high value, low carbon industries. And if we rebuild breeding and processing bridges, it could again be part of a diversified, future ready oilseed portfolio. Flax. What oil flax is. Systematics, forms, chemistry, and where it fits. Oil flax, Linum usitatissimum, is one of humanity's oldest crops, but here we're talking specifically about the oil type, not the fiber type. Same species, different architecture and behavior. Oil flax belongs to subspecies like Transitorium and Mediterraneum. Plants are shorter, roughly 40 to 60 centimeters, branch more and finish earlier than fiber flax. That branching is what loads the canopy with capsules and pushes seed yield. The seeds are the business end, typically 35 to 45% oil, often 40 to 46% under our conditions, and 22 to 25% protein. Chemically, the oil is remarkable for its alpha linolenic acid, the omega 3 that gives flax oil its drying behavior. You'll also find linoleic and oleic acids with smaller shares of palmitic and stearic. That high iodine value, about 177 to 197, is why painters and the coatings industry have loved flax for centuries. It polymerizes into tough water-resistant films. Agronomically, nitrogen nudges protein up a bit and can trade off against oil, so variety choice and nutrition are part of the quality game. Biologically, oil flax starts slow. Emergence to the pine tree seedling stage is cautious. Roots expand aggressively while shoots creep. So weeds, flea beetles, and drought are the early threats. Then the crop hits a rapid growth, burst up to flowering, with a highly branched inflorescence and facultative self-pollination that shifts with temperature and humidity. Seeds are larger than in fiber types, TSW commonly 7 to 13 grams depending on form. Zooming out, global area has been fairly stable in the last few years. In Romania, there are no registered oil flax varieties right now, so growers lean on international lines. Names you'll see include Bethune, Omega, Barbara, chosen for oil profile, earliness, and lodging resistance. That gap in local registration is a practical constraint but not a blocker if seed sourcing and compliance are managed. What the crop wants: climate, soil, and the core of the technology. Think of oil flax as more heat tolerant and less water hungry than the fiber type, but it still has opinions. Across the season, it wants about 1,800 to 2,000 degrees Celsius heat. Some germinates from 1 to 3 degrees Celsius and can shrug off brief -4 degrees Celsius dips after the cotyledon stage. Best daily averages 14 to 16 degrees Celsius around flowering, 18 to 22 degrees Celsius for pollination fertilization, then greater than 20 degrees Celsius to finish without heat spikes. Hot, dry finishes can crash oil quality by suppressing unsaturated fatty acid accumulation and forcing a sudden, uneven ripening. Light matters. Flax is a long day plant. Good light shortens plants, thickens stems, increases branching, and ultimately boosts capsule number. Moisture needs a modest but timing sensitive, roughly 150 to 180 millimeters well distributed, with a big share between seedling and flowering. Too wet at sowing hurts emergence, crusting hypoxia. Too wet at flowering blocks pollination. Too dry in the seedling flowering window cuts, branching and oil. Aim for medium textured, deep, fertile, well drained profiles, pH 6 to 7. Heavy clays with poor drainage invite fusarium and root rots. Very sandy soils punish yield in dry years. Because seeds are small, the seedbed must be fine and firm. Technology in one breath. Place flax after autumn cereals, well-manured maize, no triazines, or annual legumes. Avoid sunflower, beet, sorghum, oats, hemp, crucifers. Keep a 5 to 6 year break to avoid soil fatigue and diseases. Fertility drives yield. Removal for 100 kilograms. Seed is about 5 to 7 kilograms N, 1.8 to 2.5 kilograms P2O5, 3.2 to 5.5 kilograms K2O. Practical doses N30 to 100, P and K30 to 90 kilograms per hectare depending on soil and predecessor. Overdoing nitrogen invites lodging, disease, longer season, and lower oil. Phosphorus supports oil synthesis. Boron prevents flower abortion. Sow early. As soon as 5 centimeters soil hits 4 to 5 degrees Celsius to beat drought and pests. Target 800 to 900 viable seeds per square meter, approximately 60 to 70 kilograms per hectare seed, 12.5 centimeters rows, 2 to 4 centimeters depth by soil type. First 30 days are make or break. Keep the field clean. Pre-post options exist. Pine tree stage is the critical window. Watch flea beetles and thrips. Seed treatment plus early vigor are your best insurance. Spray on warning if needed. Where summers run dry, 2 to 3 irrigations totaling 1,400 to 1,500 cubic meters per hectare pay. During rapid growth, flowering, and seed fill. Harvest at full maturity, 80 to 90% brown capsules, leaves mostly shed, and clean condition quickly to less than or equal to 11% seed moisture. Why it pays, industrial uses, products, and where things are going. Oil flax punches above its weight because everything is useful. The seeds yield 39 to 43% oil with a high drying index. That gives industry a natural binder for paints, varnishes, enamels, inks, linoleum, wood treatments, and corrosion resistant coatings. In fine arts, linseed oil is still the gold standard for pigment binding. In food, cold pressed oil is prized for omega 3, ALA, and shows up in nutrition and pharma formulations with anti inflammatory positioning. In cosmetics, it's an emollient backbone for lotions and balms. Increasingly, controlled polymerization routes feed bioplastics, bioadhesives, and eco varnishes for green building. After pressing, the oil cake shines, approximately 34 to 44% protein, widely used in cattle and pig rations. Beyond nutrition, it has soothing, mild laxative effects that help gut health in ruminants. Stems are far from waste. Combine left straw, 15 to 25 quintals per hectare, can feed pulp for fine paper. When stem length and handling allow, it enters technical fibers for textiles or automotive composites, lightweight biodegradable panels that displace fiberglass with a smaller carbon footprint. Processing leftovers, tow and sheaves become insulation boards, technical paper, particle boards, or solid biofuel. Agronomically, flax's short season frees land early, improving rotations and timing for winter wheat. Trends? Three big ones. First, new markets, biopolymers, eco adhesives, green coatings, and certified functional or organic edible oils. Second, climate adaptation, breeding and agronomy to steady oil quality under heat and erratic rainfall, since droughty finishes can dent both yield and omega 3s. Third, circular use of stems, textile blends, insulation, composites, so even oil type crops feed fiber value chains. Locally, Romania's acreage is small and registered varieties are absent, which keeps the crop niche. But the bioeconomy pull is real. With reliable seed access, clear contracting and processing links, oil flax can diversify farm income while supplying high value, low carbon industries. It's an old crop with very modern jobs and a good fit for rotations that need an early, clean preceder. Safflower, basic concepts, systematics, growing areas, chemical composition, varieties. Safflower Carthamus tinctorius L is a fascinating annual oilseed crop from the large Asteraceae family, the same family that includes sunflower and chicory. Historically, it was cultivated not only as an oil plant but also for its striking red pigment, carthamin, used for centuries as a natural dye and even as a substitute for saffron. Botanically, safflower is well adapted to harsh environments. It has a vegetation cycle of about 125 to 130 days, forms a strong taproot that penetrates deep into the soil, and tolerates both drought and poor fertility. A single plant may carry dozens of flower heads, or capitula, each packed with florets, and it produces achenes, pear-shaped seeds with a weight between 24 and 40 grams per thousand. Germination begins at just a few degrees above zero, and plants can withstand light frosts early in development, but they also tolerate extreme heat, up to 40 degrees Celsius. From a chemical point of view, the seeds are valuable. They contain 30 to 40% oil, dominated by linoleic acid, an essential omega 6 fatty acid that makes up to 80% of the profile. Smaller fractions of oleic acid and saturated fatty acids complement the composition. Besides lipids, safflower seeds provide 16 to 20% crude protein, dietary fiber, mucilage, and phenolic compounds with antioxidant effects. They are also a source of natural pigments, red carmine and yellow carmine, as well as phytosterols like beta cytosterol and campestrol, which help reduce cholesterol and support immune health. Globally, safflower has grown modestly but steadily in the last years, reaching about 1.4 million hectares in 2024. In Romania, cultivation remains limited, but varieties such as CW99OL have been approved and tested locally. Internationally, breeding programs are pushing for high oleic types, drought resistance, and stable yields. Climate, soil requirements, and cultivation technology. Safflower stands out because of its resilience to climate stress. It is a thermophilic, light loving plant that thrives in full sun and resists both cold in early growth and intense heat later on. Germination can begin at 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, while optimal development occurs around 20 to 30 degrees. Water needs are moderate, about 300 to 500 millimeters per year, but thanks to its deep taproot, safflower can yield reasonably well even with as little as 250 millimeters, provided the soil retains moisture. Excess water, however, is harmful, increasing the risk of fungal infections during flowering and seed ripening. Soil preferences are simple but strict. Safflower grows best on well drained, light to medium soils, loamy or sandy loam, with a neutral to slightly alkaline pH between 6.0 and 7.5. Heavy clay or waterlogged soils are unsuitable as the root system needs oxygen to function. As for fertility, the plant is not highly demanding but responds positively to balanced fertilization. Typical recommendations are 45 to 60 kilograms of nitrogen and 50 to 60 kilograms of phosphorus per hectare under dry conditions, with higher doses under irrigation. Seed selection is crucial. Lots should have 99% purity and over 90% germination. Sowing is done early in spring at soil temperatures around 5 degrees Celsius with a row spacing of 45 to 50 centimeters and a sowing depth of 4 to 6 centimeters. Maintenance is relatively straightforward. Weed control is essential in the early stages when growth is slow and competition can be fatal. 2 to 3 hoeings, sometimes combined with herbicides, keep fields clean. Pest and disease pressure is generally low except in humid years. Irrigation may be used in prolonged droughts to secure yields. Harvesting is mechanized, carried out when plants are fully dry, and seed moisture drops below 13%. Under Romanian conditions, yields average 20 to 25 quintals per hectare in dryland farming, but under irrigation they may exceed 45 quintals. Industrial uses, trends, and debates. The true value of safflower lies in its versatile industrial applications. The seeds yield 37 to 42% oil, semi drying in nature, with an iodine value of 140 to 152. In the food industry, safflower oil is increasingly marketed as a healthy edible oil, rich in omega 6 and omega 9 fatty acids. It is used directly in diets that aim to reduce cholesterol and prevent cardiovascular disease, or indirectly in margarine, mayonnaise, and bakery products. In the pharmaceutical sector, safflower oil is encapsulated in soft gels as a supplement, while in cosmetics it is prized for its emollient and anti-inflammatory properties. The flowers add another dimension. They are harvested for their pigments, red carthamin and yellow carthamidin. These natural dyes are regaining importance in food, confectionery, beverages, and natural cosmetics as safe plant based alternatives to synthetic colorants. At the same time, safflower byproducts such as meal and cake after oil extraction are used in livestock feed, providing 20 to 25% protein, though their high fiber content requires careful use in pigs and poultry. Beyond these traditional uses, safflower is finding new roles in bio based industries. Its oil is incorporated into varnishes, paints, and inks, and is being tested as a raw material for biodegradable detergents, polymers, and packaging. Research is exploring its potential in bioplastics and green building materials, placing safflower firmly in the circular economy. Global trends show a rising interest in safflower as a drought resistant, low input crop with diverse industrial outputs. In countries such as India, the United States, and Australia, it is already integrated into biofuel and food chains. In Europe, there are ongoing debates about whether safflower should be supported in common agricultural policy schemes, particularly as a crop for marginal soils and organic farming. For Romania, the challenge remains the lack of varieties and processing chains, but the opportunity is clear. Safflower can contribute to diversification, sustainability, and new value chains in agriculture. The learning unit dedicated to oilseed crops highlights just how strategic this group of plants is, not only for agriculture, but also for a wide range of industries. Each species that we studied, flax, safflower, sunflower, castor bean, and rapeseed, paints, and varnishes to pharmaceutical oils. Safflower, highly resistant to drought, stands out for its oil rich in linoleic acid and for its flowers, which provide natural pigments with growing industrial interest. Sunflower remains the dominant oil seed in Romania, producing one of the healthiest edible oils and positioning our country as a European leader. Castor bean, though cultivated on small areas, produces a unique oil rich in ricinoleic acid, essential for lubricants, polymers, and pharmaceuticals. Finally, rapeseed, with its high oil content and modern low erucic, low glucosinolate varieties, plays a dual role, supplying edible oil and serving as the main European crop for biodiesel production. What unites these five crops is their contribution to sustainable agriculture and to the bioeconomy. Each one helps diversify crop rotations, valorize byproducts, and open new industrial pathways. Understanding their specific biological and technological requirements allows us to manage them efficiently, adapt to climate change, and strengthen both food security and industrial innovation. In short, oilseed crops are not only about nutrition, but also about energy, sustainability, and the future of agriculture.